Welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. Kent Adams here. I hope you're having a good week. We're facing another lockdown for 3 weeks. We're all happy about that, aren't we? And the effect, I'm more worried about the effect it has on our employees and our community. And we're going to talk with Big Table today. And they're an organization that really focuses in on the restaurant workers, sometimes the most unappreciated folks in town, but we appreciate them when we get the great service and the great food and so forth. But during the last 8 months or so, it's been very difficult for those folks, and we've talked about that before and what some of the community is doing. But we'll be talking with Chris from Big Table about that right after this.
We believe every person is created in the image of God with immeasurable beauty and worth, that people should not be defined by their present condition or past mistakes. We are all broken. We need each other. Healing for our brokenness begins with connection, with understanding how much we are loved by a good God. And with healing comes change, the potential for joy and meaning. No one was created for mere survival on the streets, for an existence blurred by mind-numbing substances. Each person is created with a purpose, a unique gift no one else can offer the world. Our job is to help them rediscover it. Real people, real change. Union Gospel Mission.
Well, welcome back. Way back in the old days, a couple years ago, Big Table was in the same building we were downtown, the old Chancery building. And,
Yes.
and Chris, I don't think I've seen you since you moved.
Yeah, we left first.
We
left first.
I know.
washed our
And then they
hands
said,
and
well,
we're outta here.
yeah, if we're going to get rid of them, let's get rid of the rest.
Sure,
no,
absolutely.
actually, everybody in the building had to leave and
Right.
so forth. And we took over your space, but only for about 6 months
Yeah.
because everyone got booted.
Yeah.
So how are things?
Well, I mean, really as well as I think
Are you
they
busy?
can be. Yeah, needless to say, we are quite busy.
Yeah.
You know, we've supporting the restaurant hospitality industry. Obviously, it's been, we know it is. It's always been a tough industry,
Right.
But going into COVID, going into
This is
shutdowns,
unprecedented times.
unprecedented times. All of these employees that are on the margins are now closer to the edge now more than ever.
Yeah.
And so I think to say that we're busy is the kindest way to put it, like
Yeah.
just in terms of how crazy it is right now.
Well, let's step backwards a bit or two and,
Sure.
and first talk about the purpose and what is Big Table, because you've been doing this for about 10 years.
Yeah, over 10 years now.
Yeah.
So just real quick history briefing. Started in Spokane. We
Right.
loved that back in 2009.
I love it when those things happen.
Yeah, that's right. And then we went to Seattle about
Yes.
5 years ago.
Yes.
So we did it the backwards way in Washington, right? Instead of starting in Seattle.
No, you
coming-
did it the
we
right
did it the
way.
right way.
Yeah.
I think we did it the right way. And then about a year and a half ago, March will actually be 2 years, we expanded down to San Diego market.
Oh,
as
really?
well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
all with the same simple premise to support those who work in the restaurant hospitality industry
Yeah.
that are in crisis and in need. So these are frontline working employees that, for whatever reason, can't make ends meet. You know,
Yeah.
the industry itself is this incredibly beautiful industry with incredibly gifted, talented people,
Yes.
but at the same time, high stress environment, high amounts of drug and alcohol
Because
abuse.
let's face it, those who serve us get blamed for everything.
Absolutely.
They're the front line. We never can
Right.
blame the
Right.
the people in the back and so forth.
Absolutely.
What are some of the issues that they face on a normal basis?
On a
And
normal,
then we'll,
So
and then we'll talk about
pre-COVID basis.
Yes,
Yeah, on a
yeah.
pre-COVID basis. So, one is realizing that dealing with or working with customers constantly
yeah.
is a draining, even for the biggest.
You have to be
extrovert.
on.
You have to be
all
on
the time.
all the time, and so you're coming into that sort of situation. Any sort of problem at home, any sort of struggle with the kid, finding that babysitter, working on X, Y, or Z at home is immediately left at the door.
Right.
You put that smile on,
Yeah.
now put on the mask, but you put that smile on and then take care of the customer in a restaurant or hotel.
Right.
And so that's one of the pieces. The other side is knowing that high stress exists. The availability to booze is incredibly high. It's part of the industry, you know,
Yes.
especially in our culture.
You know, I hadn't thought about that, but it's right there.
It's right there. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, from my connections to kitchens, it's common to drink on the job at some locations, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah.
It's common as hard as you work, you're gonna play just as hard afterwards.
Yeah.
And the one thing that's open at night, often people are getting off shift at 10, 11.
Is where you've been
midnight,
working.
Is either where you've been working
Or
you go see your buddy down the street,
Yeah.
you know, kind of mentality. And and the other hard part is not a lot of safety net in the mix of that. So
Okay.
we're talking the long hours, we're talking little to no safety net with not a lot of insurance offerings over,
Yes.
you know, those kind of benefit sort of pieces that
Right.
maybe if you needed to step away and take care of a medical situation, or your kid called in, your kid's sick, so you can't go to work because there's
Right.
nobody to watch him or any
Right.
of those pieces. There's not a lot of backing. There's not a lot of that support. And so it kind of just becomes this collective piece, this collective gathering area. One of the gifts of the industry, if you are willing to work, you can work anywhere.
Yeah.
But therefore, it starts to collect some of the most vulnerable population.
Yeah.
If you have a felony on your record, some sort of criminal history, can't get a job anywhere else, guess what? You can get a job in a kitchen. You can get a job
okay.
in a hotel kind of
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So
Well, I've noticed at some restaurants, and I'm still in the pre-COVID
Sure.
mode.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
That
I think I
I'd
remember
go
that
in for
time.
lunch, which is usually not their best time to make money and all that for most restaurants.
Sure.
I understand. It's the late afternoon, dinner, drinking.
you're getting a little more service.
Right,
Able
right.
to have a little bigger ticket.
But I'm thinking of sometimes, and I can think of a very specific place where I'd walk in, and sometimes my business partner that I'm meeting with and so forth, we might be only 1 or 2 or 3 tables out of 25.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone's come in to work that day, and they're only part of what they rely on is the tips. I
Right.
get that.
Right.
And only 3 tables who are ordering lunch, which is usually less expensive than
Right.
dinner.
Right.
Okay. And they're not going to walk away with very much.
Right.
And then sometimes I'll come in on a Friday maybe, and the place is packed.
Right.
Okay, wow, they get to go home. They're going to go home tired,
Right.
but they've made some money.
Right.
That's got to be eating at them all the time.
Well, it's a roller coaster, right?
And a disappointment.
And a disappointment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a few varieties there, but when tips are cut down, when you're working that lunch shift and you're depending on those tips
Yeah.
to pay rent, it's not like we're not in a situation where that tip is just that's for whatever. It's a new pair of shoes. It's a whatever.
It's to survive.
It's simply to survive.
Yeah.
It's not just the kind of free kind of whatever income.
And then I look now, not today and not for the next 3 weeks,
Right.
based on not being able to go into a restaurant and so
Right.
forth, but up until the closure a couple of weeks ago, when I could go in,
Right.
I tend to tip more than the 20%.
Sure,
Because
sure.
I understand what they're going
Right.
through, that they're having fewer people come in
Right.
and everything else, and I can afford to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what are they doing?
Well, many are out of work.
Yeah.
I mean, and many places have said.
I mean, you only need so many people to take it to the curbside.
if you're doing takeout at all.
Yeah.
If you're doing takeout at
Yeah.
all. So a lot of places right now are running a skeleton crew or a
Yeah.
smaller crew. And, we have talked to a few places that have said, we're keeping everybody on that we can.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's hurting, and a lot of places or a lot of people who work in the industry aren't working one job. They're working
Yeah.
2 to 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Because you're only getting 15 hours here or 20 hours
Yeah.
here, and therefore not qualifying for any sort of benefits things if any location offers it. So all of these pieced together things have been taken away.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you, Chris, and then we're going to take a quick break and talk
Sure.
about some other things. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, in the last, I always want to make it shorter than it was. I want to say in the last month, but it's been the last 3 months or 4 months. I've talked to a lot of those owners of restaurants and small businesses, and probably have had only 1 or 2 that haven't teared up on me
yeah.
because of the impact. And they always say this: which I think says something about these money-hungry owners, is I'm not worried about me, Kent,
Right.
but I've got great employees that I can't afford to keep on.
Right.
And that's what they worry about.
100%.
That, and you hear that too, don't you?
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Owners get into the hospitality
Yeah.
industry because they're called into midst of service.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
To care for others.
Yeah.
That's their identity.
Right.
So they do that into
And they
their
can't
employees,
care for the most important people, their staff.
who are then taking care of their patrons.
Yes,
Right. So,
yes.
it's no. I would agree. In the midst of tears, what owners and managers are carrying right now.
One of the things I
It's
learned
uncertain.
from, I'm trying to think of his name, Mark Starr
Okay.
at David's Pizza.
Oh yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Oh yeah.
And we had him on a couple of months ago before the recent closed down. And
Yeah.
and I said, what's it really like to go to a restaurant? How dangerous is it and all that? And quite frankly, what he said, and this will happen again hopefully in another 3 weeks, is, Kent, our places all around town have never been cleaner because we've often got more staff than we need because we're trying to keep them employed. And when you can't do that table, it gets cleaned down again. He
Right.
said they've never been so clean.
Shined up
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I thought about, that does make sense. I hadn't thought about that.
Right.
And so it is safe to go into places when we can go back to places. In the meantime, find out if you can get takeout and so forth.
Absolutely.
I sat yesterday out in the valley at a place outside with the tent thing,
Yeah.
with the heaters, with my winter jacket, and I was still cold, but I felt good that when I started, to about 3 tables done, and it ended up being most of the tent was filled by the time I left, that, okay, I needed to meet somebody. We needed to meet over lunch. What are you going to do? Last Friday, I met someone. I picked up food, and we met with what I call the police cars, where you come up to each other.
To the windows.
Yeah, to the windows and so forth. And so you do what you got to do, but they need us out there.
100%.
To help
Absolutely.
them stay in business.
Absolutely.
Even if they're not employing a lot of people, that they have that option to go back
Right.
when things are better. Let's take a break, but when we come back, what are some of the things that we can do?
Sure.
Like that, to
Absolutely.
patronize and so forth. When we come back, we'll be right back.
Buying a car at Wendell Nissan really is a piece of cake. Use our online tool and do everything before you arrive, even the financing. Go to wendellnissan.com and be in your new car in no time. It's a piece of cake.
When we opened the doors the first day, we started with a counter full of maybe a dozen selections of a dozen cupcakes. We sold out, and it just went crazy from there. I'm Sally. I run Sweet Frosting's Blissful Bake Shop downtown Spokane. It's almost 40 years of baking for me. We now do between 1,000 and 2,000 cupcakes a day. The variety of cupcakes is kind of like the variety of services that STCU provides for us. Since we opened this site in 2014, they've been our banker. We are producing for 4 stores right here, so we have 35 to 40 employees at any one time. There's an STCU close to virtually every one of my stores, and every time I get a new employee, that's the first place we send them. STCU is such a good fit. It's just so convenient for me to have them as neighbors. They are always so pleasant and always so helpful, and we have a lot of little needs. They've always been behind me 100%, so it's a good thing to have that partnership.
Here at River Ridge Hardware, we carry a great selection of Krylon brand spray paints, Color Master, general purpose, the Rust Protector for taking care of metal, Fusion for taking care of plastics, and the Super Max that can take care of it all.
Weather in the inland Northwest can wear you down. And if your gutters are in poor condition or you do not have gutters, you could suffer damage that could cost a fortune to fix. Rainman Seamless Rain Gutters has almost 30 years of professional experience in serving the inland Northwest region and strives to ensure customer service that is second to none, from the time you call to the end of the project.
Well, welcome back. Chris Deitz from Big Table.
Yes, not a little one.
Not a little one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right, that's
We do things big here.
That's right.
Okay,
Do
you
it up
guys do
big,
too.
baby.
Is it quieter where you are now that you don't have us around in the same building?
I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah. Careful how you
I
answer.
think I just got
I'm
baited
kidding.
on that one. I
I'm
just got
kidding.
baited.
Hey, you talked about who you are as an organization and the
Right.
great work you're doing and so forth. And when we were in the same building, we got to see a lot of that and hear a lot of that and so forth. What are the services? What do you provide to some of these very frontline folks, and how has that changed now with COVID, which
Sure.
has taken a situation that was tough to start with?
Right.
Okay, I'll grant you that. That is ballistic now.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You told me earlier you've grown like 400%.
Yeah, our referrals across the three cities we're in this year is up like
400%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of services, so unlike some sort of other social service or nonprofit, Big Table aims to care for the specific population.
Okay,
So
yes, yeah.
when we talk care is a variety of pieces.
Okay.
You know, and so for us, it's dependent on the individual's need. So we learn of a care situation through a referral model.
Okay.
So it's
who is it that calls you? Is it the
it-
restaurant owner? Is it a patron? I mean, how do you get these referrals?
It's a coworker, it's a manager.
Okay.
It could be a friend. It
Okay.
could be a friend of the industry, friend outside of the industry.
Okay.
Yeah, patrons alike as well that we receive referrals from. And the gift of that for us is it's helping us get at the the most critical needs in the moment.
Yes.
And so the individual isn't reaching out to us saying, here's my case, I need help. Nobody pleads their case to us. Rather, as Big Table, we're reaching out and we're saying, hey, so-and-so cares enough about you that they've reached out. And guess what? We want to do something about it. So no one pleads their case
How
to
do
Big
people
Table.
react to that?
Some people are a little shocked.
Yeah.
Some people know the referral's already coming. So,
Oh, okay.
so
Sure.
they've been given a heads up and things.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's been incredible for us because it's turned the tables. No one's placing judgment on the need. No one.
Right.
It's rather saying, let's do something about this.
Yes.
Like, what do you need? How do we best support you?
Yeah.
That's often a rent right now, especially right now. Over half of Spokane's budget in aid this year has been helping people stay in housing.
Right.
Utilities is another big piece.
Sure.
Sometimes it's car repair.
Yeah, just getting to and from
Just
work.
to and from
Yeah.
work, absolutely. Sometimes it's a phone bill. You know, living on the edge, on the margin all the time.
It doesn't take much
It
to
doesn't
put them
take
off.
much. It's
push 'em
often
off.
a $500 bill or a $1,000 bill, and that could be enough to wipe you out. And so, and then that other side would often potentially dental needs, medical needs.
Yes.
You know, I talked about that limited to no safety net at all.
Do you have dentists and things like that work with you?
Yeah, so I'm not pulling teeth, which is wise. But
very wise.
Very, very
Okay.
wise. But we definitely do have a handful of dentists in the community
That's
who
nice.
have been very just generous to help make things happen.
Right.
Who have just been very kind and just part of their business practices who've seen a handful of our clients
Yes,
over the
yes.
years and who have given people new smiles, who have given people a new
You
way
know,
in life.
I often say, yes, we're a metropolitan area now with Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene
Sure.
and everything else. And we're a city. I get all that. But we're still small town.
Absolutely.
We care about each other. But sometimes we have to know
Right, 100%.
how to help. How do you get help? And I come down to the dollars because it takes, I don't care. Yes, maybe a dentist gives you a deal or does it free and so forth. But I'm sure there are things that you have to pay for, rent
100%.
and others. How do you raise money?
The support's been incredible. I mean,
good,
yeah, and so we talked about that increase in need. There's been also an increase in support in the community as well
Really?
to help meet those needs.
Good.
And so for us, it's been individuals who have just
Okay.
said, "Yeah, we believe in your mission,"
Yeah.
you know, and we want to be part of that. Whether that's a
Oh,
one-time
neat.
gift or a monthly gift as well. Some of the industry has been able to give back. You know, we talk
Okay.
about hospitality, so some of the industry has
Right.
has said, "You're helping our folks. You're helping other folks in the
Yeah,
industry."
we're all in this together.
We're all in this together,
Yeah.
so we want to help make that happen. And then, so it's kind of a wave, some grant funding as well,
Yeah.
some family grants. And
Have you been
just
able to
help
get
with the-
any of the help from the federal dollars or anything?
We had a little bit, yes. We hadn't focused on that quite as much per se, but there was definitely a little bit of help
Yeah.
during that time.
It's funny that you talk about the individuals and so forth, and I'm going to give credit to where credit is due. my son, who is a civilian firefighter out at Fairchild, sent all his 3 siblings and his mom and I about 2 weeks ago a note and said, no Christmas presents this year. Tell us what organizations will give to in your name. With the caveat, though, I know Mom will want to do some things for the grandkids,
Right.
you know.
Sure.
And of course he's right, and you can tell my wife as many times as you want that we're not going to do something for the grandkids,
Right.
and it's still going to get done.
Yeah. You ain't telling Grandma no.
That's
You ain't
absolutely.
telling
I
Grandma
mean,
no.
he's smarter than that, right?
Yeah.
But in fact, I sent over a couple names the other day because I asked my wife. I said, I know so many organizations, but what do you care about? Let's
Right.
do to that and so forth. And I'm thinking there'll probably be a lot of people out there who might want to do something for Big Table.
I mean, that would be incredible.
I mean,
Absolutely
why
incredible.
not? And one of them, of course, is Larry Myers from River Ridge
Yes,
Hardware.
yes.
And he's been pushing out something on Facebook. We've reposted it and so forth, where he's going to match up to $3,000. That's a hunk of change,
Yeah,
okay?
that'll help
That
some
will
people.
help several people, right?
Absolutely.
And so here's a chance. Go to River Ridge Hardware on Facebook or look them up on the web. Look us up. You'll find information there. And he loves the organization. And he just plain called you one day.
Yeah, it was actually, I think he kind of did a little push like this earlier in the season.
Yes.
And it was one day I saw it on Facebook,
Ah.
and I think I called him, if I remember correctly.
Okay,
on this one day,
okay.
And I was like, Larry,
Where'd this come from?
what's going on, brother? Like,
Yeah.
how are, and like, this is crazy. And so that was wild. You
Yeah.
know, we hadn't had much connection or any connection with Larry in the past, but you know, Larry's heart is just saying, it just saw an opportunity and wanted to do something
Yes,
about it. And,
yes.
you
But
know,
a $3,000 pledge
Yeah.
to match people
Absolutely.
is pretty darn good. You could get
Absolutely.
$6,000 out
which
of
would
this.
be
Yeah.
incredible, and which would go to directly helping folks in need
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah,
that are
I think
struggling
that's
to find work.
terrific, and it is. If we can't see some of our grandkids and our own kids and so forth, because we're going to be living under this for another 3 weeks as of today,
Yeah.
according to the governor and so forth, and you're not going to hold that office party maybe and so forth. Think about others in the community, and I'm talking to those of you watching this. Think about others in the community, whether it's Big Table or some other organizations out there. You can check them out on the Better Business Bureau. You can check them out in a number of places. Be careful for like names, because we've all seen various cancer groups who aren't really cancer groups. They're, a scam and so forth. But find a cause or two out there. It could be animals. I mean, whatever it might be, there are people in our area, in our town, whether it be Spokane, Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene, Sandpoint. Of course, we're seen around the world being on the internet.
Yeah.
But do something for your community. There's an opportunity coming up in the next couple of weeks, and so I urge all of us to do that. We're going to do that as a family, and do that. In fact, if you do, send us a text message or go and post something on our website that you're giving to an organization, and on Spokane Talks Media on Facebook, okay? We'd love to see what you're doing in the community, because it's the time to step up. It really is. Yeah. What else is going on, bud?
Well, all the things. I think
Yeah.
all the things. I think one of the things you had mentioned earlier is individuals getting involved, whether that's
Yes.
with Big Table directly or out in,
Yes.
in the community regarding the restaurant hospitality industry. And one thing is, we don't want to just be an organization. We really want to be a movement, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
those who are supporting Big Table from a financial perspective, they're the ones providing the care that we're getting to be a part
Yeah.
of, right? And therefore, you can take that extension, and when you're going and getting that takeout, if you're doing any sort of travel and staying in a hotel, it's taking those moments and saying, I can be Big Table as well. I can ask that server or the housekeeper, if I see one, how are they doing? It's their job to take care
You
of
used to
us.
have a little. Do you still have it?
We do. I'll talk about that in a
Yes,
second.
yes.
It's a realization that it's the individual's job to take care of us. What
Yeah.
is it to turn the tables and start to take care of them? And one of the things, I think this is what you're referencing, is an unexpected 20 envelope. And so If you go on our website, big-table.com, there's a little tab underneath there that talks about Unexpected 20s, and you can download a template for it. And it's simply an envelope that says a gift for you, no strings attached.
Yeah.
And we encourage people to put a $20 bill in there, and the next time they're getting that takeout or the next time they've stayed in a hotel somewhere, you just are going to leave it for somebody.
Yeah.
And you're not looking for the person who's earned it. You're not looking for the person who's giving the most exquisite service or anything, because it's not a tip.
Yeah.
It's simply you're looking for somebody who might be most in need in that time.
Now, I don't know about all your staff, but I know your head honcho there, Kevin, comes from a very religious background.
Correct.
As a former minister and all that.
Yeah.
A lot of that comes from him, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's this moment of feeling a sense of call to care for others.
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
wanting to,
exactly.
And
but we often wonder how we can do that. We're afraid to do that.
Totally.
Okay. There isn't a server or a restaurant or a hotel worker that's working right now in this town that doesn't need help.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whether they've gotten to the crisis where you can help, or whether the $20 bill will mean they can buy that little present maybe for their daughter for Christmas.
Or it could be gas to get home.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think when we talk about the unexpected 20, one of the things is this is about making people feel seen and loved, right? And just
not take it for granted.
Not take it for granted, you know, and Spokane Eats, if you guys know about Spokane Eats.
I know, I've heard of it. I don't know that much.
So she, local blogger in town, she's been doing incredible stuff here in town. And she's taken that, I just saw recently on Instagram that she's taken that to the next level and doing tips right now to $100 to people in the area. And she just going to places and just saying, hey, I know this is a tough time. I just want to see you.
But not everybody can do the $100.
Sure, not everybody can
Everybody can do a 20.
Everybody could do a 20.
We can all save up for a 20.
Yeah, sure.
Once between now and Christmas or New Year's at least, right?
Yeah. And it's beyond just the money, right?
Yeah.
It's realizing that behind that person handing you that coffee, behind that bag of food that's being handed to you is a story. And right now is a story that, unfortunately, given the situation, probably isn't very pretty.
I have a couple places that I walk into, and one is close by here because sometimes I can't get away for very often.
Sure.
And even when she's not my server,
right?
Before I get to my table, my Roy Rogers is there.
Is already there.
Okay, because she said, Chris, he likes a Roy Rogers here.
Yeah.
You know, and that deserves extra attention.
Yeah.
And of course, I give more than the 20%.
Sure.
But I'm going to make a point to go down and do the 20 thing,
Right,
even when I'm not eating there and so forth. I think we just need, we need ways, in all that we've been through, the depression and the mental illness and the suicides that we're going to see more and more of.
Unfortunately.
This is a way we can help somebody brighten their day a little bit.
Right. It's one of the parts of hospitality industry being taken away is that sense of community.
Yeah.
Is that sense of dining at the table together.
Yeah.
And including the server in that, or including the manager and chef as much as you can in that.
Yeah.
And that's been removed in many regards.
Yeah.
And so human connection is huge. So how do we start to bring that back? How do we do that in a way, even though we're in the midst of a pandemic?
Yeah.
You know, and
but we can still find ways.
We can still find ways, you know, and how, you know, and that server that you mentioned that gets you the Roy Rogers.
Yes.
It's about getting to know her, and next thing you know, and how are her kids doing?
Yeah.
Oh, they're in school doing online learning. How's that going?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's really tough. Are you managing that well? You know, like, once again, going back to, it's their job to take care of us.
Yeah.
But what is it to take care of them?
Well, she even knows what I'm going to order for lunch.
Sure, absolutely.
You know, I mean, she starts going around the room, and we'll start to go back, and people will look at me like, isn't she going to take your order? She knows.
She knows. We don't have to worry. It's amazing. Servers have an incredible servers have an incredible gift with that.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I don't always remember their name, but I do remember their order.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And that Roy Rogers and that order.
Well, after the first couple times, she said, "I'm Stacy. What's your name?"
Yeah.
And so we got, you know,
start to get it acquainted.
Hi, Kent. How you doing?
Yeah.
And do I feel welcome there? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And she will tease some of my guests and things like that, but you know, it's fun. All right, website.
Yeah.
Let's direct people to the website. That's the best place to go. You have a Facebook too?
Yeah, we have Facebook and Instagram.
Give both those all those addresses.
All the addresses.
Yes.
So website big-table.com.
Okay.
And then you can find us We just do have one Big Table Facebook page that covers
Okay.
the 3 cities.
Okay.
And so I believe that's Big Table PNW is what the slash is on that.
Okay.
piece. And then we're at Big Table SPO, SPO, on Instagram.
Okay.
Is where you can find, and especially on the social media side, often updates of care,
Yeah.
kind of highlights of stories.
I was going to say you're telling what's going on.
Yeah,
That
we're trying-
I think
we're trying
that's
to-
important.
Yeah,
I really do.
Because the reality is, Big Table, us internally, we're not the ones doing it. Yeah, we're a part of the whole connected piece,
Yeah.
but it's the community that's helping make it happen.
Well, Chris, please say hi to Kevin and the rest of the staff.
I will, yeah,
How many
thank
do you
you.
have working there now?
So on the Spokane team specifically, 5 of us.
Wow.
5
okay.
total. And
5 for all
for Spokane.
for all that's going on here.
For all that's going on.
Yeah.
They're rock stars.
Yes.
they make it happen.
Yeah.
And then organizationally wide, I believe there's 17 of us between
Wow.
the 3 cities and a
Right.
headquarters. So it's
Wow.
been cool.
Never needed more than now,
Mm.
but the need will not go away when we're back to normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is normal at this
I
point?
yeah. I don't. I've never been normal.
Sure.
So okay.
sure,
So
sure. I won't speak to that one either. but-
The rest of the world's catching up with Kent right
Yeah,
now. Okay,
sure.
Chris, thank you. Thank you for what your team is
Gift to
doing.
be here.
Thank you, donors to Big Table. That's what's really important as well, to let them, on your behalf, help people in this community that they've identified that need help. Thanks for watching the Pulse of Spokane. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.